Aloha and welcome back. This is Sol, your host for Pay Radio, talk radio worth listening to. As always, I bow in gratitude for your taking the time to come back and have a listen. In this segment, I ask your permission to be blunt. By continuing on listening to this show and this segment, I recognize that what you think and what you feel is 100% your responsibility. I'm doing this program largely based on hours of reflection that I have enjoyed pondering the fact that as I approach the 10-year anniversary mark to Pay Me What I'm Worth, with over 250,000 people around the world, these reflections are designed to help you explore balance. That's what Pay Me What I'm Worth is all about. Finding a balance. Balance between giving and receiving. Where are you with feeling balanced between what you give and what you receive? As you listen to the hundreds of on-demand shows here on Pay Radio, for those listening to this show through other sources, visit bit.ly/Pay Radio. Or simply just drill down some of the on-demand shows that we have here. You're going to discover that in class, the people you're listening to share some of the most interesting aspects of their life. As they're transparent with you, so am I. And this transparency is designed to help you get in touch with how balanced you feel. In other words, I'm going to get real with you this segment. Are you willing to get real with yourself? Pay Me What I'm Worth is about balance between giving and receiving, and we begin to establish that balance by addressing 4 common habits that rob us of our sense of worth. And those 4 common habits are the feelings of doubt, guilt, shame, and worry. So blunt item number 1. How much of your life have you sacrificed to doubt, guilt, shame, or worry? Blunt statement number 2. Are you a source of doubt, guilt, shame, or worry? Meaning, are you aware of the fact that by what you say, what you do, what you don't say, and what you don't do, causes another person to feel doubt, guilt, shame, or worry? You see, gentle listeners, the journey I take you on over 12 months is to get in touch with just how deep the roots are of those 4 common habits. As you take a really deep look at these 4 things, doubt, guilt, shame, and worry, you'll begin to see how we incorporate it into our life. And even more scary is how much we befriend it, how much we let those 4 things stop us dead in our tracks to reaching our fullest potential. So time for an exercise. As always, you're going to find in Pay Radio, it's well worth your time listening to these shows because you will get an aha out of something. Every one of these shows is the equivalency to a $1,000 coaching session. And I say that because I charge $1,000 for a coaching session. Every one of these shows has the ability to shift your life in a way that you never dreamed, all just because you took the time to listen to one of Pay Radio's shows. So here's an exercise. Grab a sheet of paper, create 4 boxes. In the upper left-hand box, write the word doubt. In the upper right-hand box, write the word guilt. In the lower right-hand box, just below guilt, write the word worry. And in the lower left-hand box, below the word doubt, write the word shame. Doubt, guilt, shame, and worry. Those four traits, habits, feelings are the core of worth decay. And what I mean by worth decay, it's like tooth decay. It slowly begins to chip away at your feeling of worth, your sense of yourself. Every time I doubt myself, every time I feel guilty, every time I experience shame or I allow myself to worry, it's no different than eating a mouthful of sugar, raw processed sugar. We all know sugar is not a good thing for us, yet we consume it, oftentimes in ways we're not even aware of it. It's the same thing with doubt, guilt, shame, and worry. And with this sheet of paper with your 4 boxes of doubt, guilt, shame, and worry, tear it off your pad, carry it around with you, and every time you catch yourself feeling one of those feelings, just put a little tick mark. Make it a little X. Every time you catch yourself over the next 7 days, you think, I was just doubting myself. Oh, God, I felt so ashamed. Just put a little tick mark. Start adding up how many times you feel those feelings. And remember, if you catch yourself saying something to somebody else or doing something to somebody else, and it's a highly likelihood that that person is going to feel guilty or ashamed, like saying the statement, shame on you. And I ever hear someone say those words, shame on you. How dare you assume that I'm going to allow you to control what I feel? What are you ashamed of when you say that? So over the next 7 days, just keep track of all your tick marks, and at the end of the week, add up all your tick marks. And for grins and giggles, let's just assume that each one of those tick marks represents 1 minute. For 1 minute, you have felt guilty. For 1 minute, you have felt ashamed. For 1 minute, you worried. Now, that's a conservative estimate. More likely, your feelings of guilt, doubt, shame, and worry lasted longer than a minute. But if over the week you discover that you've got 70 different tick marks all total between the 4 items, we're going to speculate that you took an hour and 10 minutes of your life dedicated to doubt, guilt, shame, and worry. Ouch. My goal for this exercise is for you to begin to get a sense of how much time you spend doing these things that is actually robbing you. It's stealing from you. It's abusing yourself. Are you willing to stop that? So another blunt question I have for you is, are you willing to take the time to do the work necessary to release the need to feel doubt, guilt, shame, or worry? More importantly, catch yourself that if you're the source of doubt, guilt, shame, or worry, if you're shaming your son or daughter, if you're making an employee feel guilty, if you're worrying about something that you know you have no control over whatsoever, are you ready to stop that? If not, that's okay. You've made a very important discovery. Our program is not a fit for you. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, as you get through this exercise, as you begin to listen to the different shows here on Pay Radio, you're going to discover that we dive pretty deep into some extraordinary topics. Pay Me What I'm Worth is all about finding that balance between giving and receiving by looking at how systemically deep the roots are of doubt, guilt, shame, and worry. And we can get into that by utilizing a way of being that we started our own life with. Think about this. Do you recall when you were a kid how you just explored things? How it was fun to just look at things and do things just for the sake of doing it or looking at it? And if you've forgotten, just watch 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds explore. Explore the world. They're seeing things, experiencing things for the very first time. Any parent and even grandparents, as you watch your own children grow, you see things, you experience things in ways you never thought. And that's because you allow yourself to explore. Those are our tools As we get into this program, we explore again. We allow ourselves just to simply go, look at that. And by just exploring versus analyzing, when do you allow yourself to just dream? Dream with no anticipation or expectation of an outcome. Because dreaming is part of exploring. You've heard this many, many times before. Our potential often is rooted in our dreams. What do we dream about? What do we crave? What do we want? We're going to do it whether we get, quote, paid, quote, or not. The point of all of this rambling is to determine, are you ready to join our next class? And we start classes every time we have 12 people that are a fit to start a class. Let me run you through the process of how you actually become part of the Soul University Pay Me What I'm Worth program. Your first step is to come out to our site, and you can reach that at pay411.co. The word pay, the number is 411, like you're dialing info on a phone. pay411.co. Start poking around. You'll quickly discover how you can get yourself started in a class, or even more importantly, how you can become a paid instructor. As you begin to look through and feel through the process, in order to get into class, you're going to discover very quickly I model the process of getting into one of our programs to actually be like being in class. In other words, if you think it's too much work or too much effort to get into one of our classes, you've just discovered that for whatever reason, you think you're not worth your own time. And that's frightening. Who is worth your time more than you are? When are you going to take the time for yourself to become more happy and healthy? As you read through the different materials, as you read through the program guide, as you read through the terms of service, you come to a point where you think, yeah, I think I want to take this class. Before you do anything in the way of money, we have to have a conversation, a 30-minute interview. And in that 30-minute interview, I want to explore what led you to the decision to take this class. I want to explore what's your resolve to going through a 12-month program. How dedicated are you to doing some extraordinary work? How realistic is it for you to take 3 to 5 hours a week to read a little bit, ponder a little bit, attend a class, write some stuff on your secure classroom setting area? Just how much of a dedicated student do you want to be? And if I get a sense for you that you might have to squeeze this in, or you're not sure if you can afford the monthly payments, which I'll talk about in a minute, if there seems to be some friction about getting involved in class, guess what? Stop. I need to feel from you that, damn it, now is the time that I am worth learning about myself. And I will do what it takes to pencil myself into my own calendar to take the time that I need to do the work. Because, ladies and gentlemen, over the past decade, the number one complaint people have about Pay Me What I'm Worth, this is over 250,000 people going through this program in some form or fashion. Feedback forms continually state the fact that it's a hell of a lot of work. This is work. Much like gaining and maintaining a healthy weight. Let me share my own experience. At one point in time in my life, I was 335 pounds. I just didn't snap my fingers and all of a sudden, now I'm 165 pounds. It took work. In order to maintain a healthy weight, it takes work. In order to maintain a healthy relationship, you know this, I'm preaching to the choir. To maintain a healthy relationship, it takes work. So I beg you to think about this. How much time do you spend cruising the web, tweeting, Facebooking, Instagramming, watching videos? How much time do you spend just mindlessly being entertained? And what I mean by mindlessly being entertained is you just zone out. You're just watching something to watch something so that you can relax. Well, what does that get you? I'm going to be really blunt here. Most of the material on, quote, TV, unquote, is much like cotton candy. Is cotton candy good for you every day? No. It might be a nice treat, a pinch or two of cotton candy from time to time, of course. Balance in all things. What this show is about is to discover, are you ready to take the plunge? Are you ready to get involved in 12 other people's lives such that the primary focus is on yourself? The entire journey of Pay Me What I'm Worth is about you. At no point in time will you hear in any one of our classes me lecturing to you or another student or another teacher lecturing to you what you need to do. We have absolutely no idea what you need to do. That's your call. Once we have our 30-minute conversation, we're going to know very quickly whether or not you're ready for this program. If you are ready for this program, I will give you access to a password-protected webpage where you can start the process of registering, meaning you'll sign your terms of service after you read it and you understand what's in those terms of service. You understand that we're going to be recording classes so that if you miss a class, no worries, you can listen to the class. You also understand that we may choose to air an edited portion of that class here on Pay Radio. And the reason why we air classes here on Pay Radio is because your aha is going to strike some anonymous listener's life in a way that they can improve their life thanks to you. That's one way we pay it forward. You sign your documents, you send me an email with a picture of your signed document. I hold on to those signed documents knowing you're ready to go. You've not paid a dime yet. Once we have 12 up to 15 people ready for our next class, I will let you know when we're going to have either a video conference call or just a plain telephone conference call, and you'll get to meet and greet each other. We'll have a session where you get to have a sense of who will be in your class. Once I've got at least 12 people going, yeah, let's do this. I like who I've met. I'm interested in doing this. I'm ready to go. That's when you start your payments. What I mean by payments is you'll make 12 monthly automated payments. Here's why I do monthly payments versus you paying everything up front. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. Your payments are non-refundable, by the way. Once you make your payment, you've made your payment. If something happens where I've had situations where a person's partner has died, or they've experienced a traumatic accident, extenuating circumstances that it's just not really appropriate for you to continue on in class, stop your payments. Right? You can still continue to read the book. You can still continue to listen to your class members go through their class. There have been also occasions where I have terminated people from class because all of a sudden they get to that space where they're being mean, they're being cruel, they're being disruptive. They're not following the rules that we created, the guidelines, the safety net. They're destroying the harmony that we're looking to create. I will terminate anybody who is disruptive to class on a consistent basis. So that's why we do monthly payments. Your monthly payment, by the way, in no way, shape, or form, regardless of how much you pay, will adequately compensate me or another teacher for the value that you're going to get out of this class. And that sounds like a rather arrogant statement, but I've based it on a decade's worth of results. I base it on the reality that Pay Me What I'm Worth got written because I became aware that the lessons that just one of my teachers taught me, one teacher alone, I could pay them $100 trillion a second. Let's say I had that coming in from some sort of web application. I'm earning $100 trillion a second. Every second of every day for the rest of my life, I'm earning $100 trillion a second. I could forward that money to that one teacher, all of it, And in my mind, that massive amount of money would represent maybe 2 grains of sand in the Sahara Desert. The sand in the Sahara Desert is how much gratitude I have for that one teacher. And all the money in the world from every source combined would represent 1 or 2 grains of sand for the level of gratitude that I have for that instructor. So you need to understand that whatever payment is created between you and your teacher, all that is a way for us to begin to balance a sense of giving and receiving. It's one of the many ways that you can offset a teacher's time, experience, love. The other ways that you pay me, the other ways that you pay instructors is by learning, by growing. And just like any parent, any teacher who has had the miracle of watching a life blossom and grow, gentle listeners, that process of witnessing you coming online, witnessing you step into your own passion, witnessing you literally blow up into the person you're meant to be, that to me is worth more than all the money in the world. And because your potential, as you release it into the world, it allows us all to evolve, right? That's exciting. That's what Pay Me What I'm Worth is all about, waking up that potential. While granted, what you pay me will never match the value of what you'll get out of this program, at the same time, what you pay me helps me do what I love to do. In all transparency, if you think I am banking money to get the next fancy car, the next biggest house, or live the lifestyle of the rich and famous, you've not done your homework about me. So when it comes time to make your payment to Soul University, one of the joys that you're allowed to savor is that your payment is actually going towards launching a company that will one day set the standard for caregivers to live longer, happier, healthier lives. So once we've got at least 12 people ready to go and you've met each other and you're feeling, this is it, I'm ready to start class, we begin classes, you begin your payments, we start doing a chapter a month. That's a pretty brisk pace. In order to get through the material, you will need to carve out 3 to 5 hours a week, every week for a year. Some people tell me that that's not nearly enough time. What you put into this process directly reflects what you get out. And you're going to hear this in our classes, on our on-demand shows. You're going to hear people who have really dedicated their life to getting into this process. You're going to hear how profound the shifts are that they are experiencing in their life. I am looking to form the following classes. Anyone who considers themselves a minority status, whether that's because of your gender, whether that's because of your race, whether that's because of your ability, your age. Those things, by the way, are key components of worth decay. Age, ability, race, creed, gender, orientation. All of those are used as a way to create a minority status from the majority. When there is the we, they mentality, we have potential for worth decay. Someone thinks they're better than us because of whatever reason. So if you consider yourself to be in a minority status, take a look at this program. As 12 women who are age 50 and older, who might be close to retiring and they're not sure what their next steps are, a dozen men who have discovered that they're sick and tired of the bullshit that they're putting up with in their life. As I get specific groups of people ready to get together and hunker down and get involved in Pay Me What I'm Worth, we can create some extraordinary, mind-blowing teams. It may take a while to start your class. And as a group begins to form, I'll let you know. I'll let you know, saying, hey, look, I've got 9 people who are very similar to what you're faced with. We need about 3 more people before we can really get this underway. Do you know of anybody else? And we'll have a conference call. We'll have plenty of time to really look at whether or not this program is a fit for you. Once you're in this program, it's my goal to help you teach everybody else your own unique wisdom. We all bring to the table bits of wisdom that's going to help every one of us grow. I'm going to invite you to step up and be really who you are. And be who you really are with a group of people where our ground rules are designed for you to be who you are, minus judgment. One of the things that I cherish the most as I look back on a decade's worth of feedback forms is how many times I hear people tell me or read people's comments how for the first time in their life they've been amongst a group of people where they actually felt or feel unconditionally loved. What does that mean to you? We're going to conclude our journey together on this segment by ending where we began. We began with the notion that we're going to look at finding balance in our lives, finding balance between giving and receiving. To find that balance between giving and receiving, we're going to take a solid look at doubt, guilt, shame, and worry. And by taking a really good look at doubt, guilt, shame, and worry, using the tool of being an explorer more than an analyzer, as we explore our own lives, we become aware of the fact that no one else has the right or privilege to judge us. That's the basis that we form our class together. All right, let's wrap it up. Here are the 3 questions I ask just about everybody I meet. Are you paid what you're worth? Yes or no? And keep in mind the word pay is more than dollars. Do people pay you enough respect? Do people pay you enough attention? Do people love you in a way that you feel loved? So are you paid what you're worth, is beyond a paycheck. Are you paid what you're worth? Yes or no? For those people who've answered yes, Soul, I am paid what I'm worth, I want to hear from you. I want to include your story in the second version of Pay Me What I'm Worth coming out late summer. For those who have answered no, Soul, I'm not paid what I'm worth, and it's more than just money. I want more respect. I want more attention. I need to feel unconditionally loved, even if it's just unconditionally loving myself. So if you answered no, I'm not paid what I'm worth, my second question to you might seem kind of silly, but there's a reason for it. Do you want to be paid what you're worth? Who in their right mind would say no? Well, right now there are tens of millions of people who say no. No, I don't want to be paid what I'm worth. And they say that every time they allow someone to cause them to feel guilty, shameful, that they worry, that they doubt themselves. You're saying, no, I don't want to be paid what I'm worth when you stuff your own emotions so deep inside you because you're afraid to speak your mind. You say, no, I don't want to be paid what I'm worth when someone abuses you in any shape or form. You say, no, Soul, I don't want to be paid what I'm worth when you work those extra hours of overtime because you've racked up such debt, because that debt means you've got a fancy this or a fancy that, because you think by having a fancy this or a fancy that, somehow it's going to make you feel more worthy. You say, no, Soul, I really don't want to be paid what I'm worth when you spend more time making money than you spend time with the people that you love and cherish. Ladies and gentlemen, based on a decade's worth of feedback from people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, It's a very common story. Had these 70, 80, and 90-year-olds gone through Pay Me What I'm Worth in their 20s and 30s, they would be much happier, much healthier, much more looking forward to tomorrow. So no matter your age, no matter where you're at, no matter what you're doing, my last question of the 3 questions is when? All right, let's recap the 3 questions. Question number 1, are you paid what you're worth? And before you answer that question, you recognize that the word pay and the word worth has multiple meanings. Are you paid what you're worth? Overall, in the bigger picture of things, yes or no? To help answer that question, do you feel balanced in life between giving and receiving? Yes or no? The second question, do you want to be paid what you're worth? Yes or no? If you answer yes, that means you want to enroll in this program. So question number 3, when do you want to be paid what you're worth? That's up to you to decide. When you're ready to put yourself on your own calendar, when you're ready to pencil yourself in 3 to 5 hours a week, half hour here, half hour there, an hour here, an hour there, to read, to listen to stuff, to attend a class. When you recognize, much like the airlines tell us when they take off, if those oxygen masks drops down in front of us, our best bet is to put our own oxygen mask on first before we help someone else. When you recognize that you are the most important person on your calendar, then you're ready to start the process of getting enrolled in this class. When it comes to time and money, meaning your monthly payments, honestly, look at your budget. I venture to guess right now you spend 10 times more than what you'll pay to attend this class. You right now already spend 10 times more on alleviating your suffering of doubt, guilt, shame, and worry. When you look at your snack habits, your drinking habits, your grooming habits, your spending habits on stuff that, you probably shouldn't have bought, but you did anyway. I venture to guess you've already spent in your lifetimes at least 10 times more than what you will pay for this class. Let's wrap up with a visualization. So take a moment now and get comfortable. Allow yourself to just get into a relaxed position, whether that's seated, lying down. And take a moment to just take a deep breath. And what I mean by a deep breath is to the count of 4. And the count of 4 goes like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's a breath in. Now release it at the same rate. 4, 3, 2, 1. So take another deep breath along that pacing, and as you're breathing in and breathing out, I'd like you to take a little reality check with where you're at in life. Are you happy? Yes or no? Overall, are you fundamentally happy? And as you're breathing those deep breaths and you're sensing your answer to that question, are you happy? Am I happy? Please know that whatever answer you come up with is an important answer. Because the entire premise of Pay Me What I'm Worth is based on the notion that the more happy, the more healthy I am. The more happy, the more healthy, the more balanced you are. The more our world has a chance to evolve. The more happy, the more healthy, the more balanced we are. We open the door to doing and being what we want to do and what we want to be. That's Pay Me What I'm Worth. Are you ready to join this local to global, decades-old grassroots movement? When you are, I look forward to talking to you. Aloha.